In a small, idyllic village nestled in the heart of the countryside, there lived a man named Eustace. He was known far and wide for his quick tongue and witty remarks, but unfortunately, the same quick wit often led him into trouble. It was a classic case of a fool's tongue runs before his wit. Eustace had always been a clever lad, sharp as a tack, and full of words that could charm the birds out of the trees. From a young age, he had the knack for making people laugh, and his friends loved him for it. But as he grew older, he couldn't resist the temptation to push the boundaries of his humor. One bright and sunny morning, Eustace wandered into the local tavern. As he took a seat at the bar, he noticed a group of farmers gathered around a table, discussing the latest troubles with their crops. Eustace, eager to make his presence known, decided to join the conversation. He cracked a joke about the scarecrow in Farmer Jenkins's field, suggesting it was doing a better job of scaring away crows than attracting them. The farmers laughed, but Eustace didn't stop there. He continued to make fun of each farmer and their agricultural woes until the laughter turned to anger. Unbeknownst to Eustace, the farmers were proud and touchy about their livelihoods. They saw him as a city slicker who didn't understand the hardships of farming. What started as innocent banter had turned into a confrontation. The leader of the group, a burly farmer named Samuel, couldn't take Eustace's jests any longer. He slammed his tankard on the table, stood up, and pointed an accusatory finger at Eustace. "You may have a quick tongue, lad, but you know nothing about the sweat and toil it takes to put food on our tables. Words don't fill bellies, actions do." Eustace was taken aback. He hadn't intended to offend anyone, but he had let his tongue run wild once again. With a nervous chuckle, he tried to diffuse the situation, but Samuel was having none of it. "Put your words to the test, then, if you're so clever. Join us tomorrow at sunrise in the fields, and let's see if you've got the wit for a hard day's work." Eustace, not one to back down from a challenge, accepted the offer. He knew that his wit couldn't bail him out this time, so he resolved to prove himself through actions. The next morning, Eustace arrived at the fields in his best farmer's attire, ready to lend a hand. Samuel and the other farmers put him to work planting seeds, tilling the soil, and herding livestock. Eustace, though willing, was not prepared for the back-breaking labor. His city hands, unused to such toil, blistered and bled. As the day wore on, Eustace's clever quips turned into grunts and groans of effort. By evening, he was utterly exhausted and covered in dirt, sweat, and regret. The farmers, however, were impressed by his determination and willingness to learn. Weeks turned into months, and Eustace continued to work alongside the farmers, soaking up their wisdom and putting his newfound skills to good use. His once soft hands became calloused, and his nimble tongue was reserved for moments of genuine camaraderie. He discovered that real wit wasn't just about making people laugh, it was about knowing when to speak and when to listen. Years passed, and Eustace not only earned the respect of the villagers, but became an integral part of the farming community. His quick wit was still there, but he had learned to temper it with humility and hard work. When he did speak, it was often to share a valuable piece of advice or a kind word. The villagers no longer saw him as a fool, but as a man who had grown wiser through his experiences. In the end, Eustace learned the true meaning of the saying, "A fool's tongue runs before his wit." He had once been the fool, letting his tongue run wild without considering the consequences. But through his trials and tribulations, he had become a wise man, understanding that words were only as valuable as the actions that backed them up. In the end, he found that it was better to have a tongue that spoke with purpose and a wit that was guided by humility than to be a clever fool.
Please subscribe to my channel Lessons of Life and press the bell notification icon.